Alright everybody, I'm just going to apologize ahead of time on some of the blurriness of this film, but as always it was a low budget video, so enjoy and be safe. Alright, welcome back. This episode of Wet, probably going to follow along the lines of last week's episode in the fact some rigging chat, I guess. And for anybody who's watched my recent videos of the lathe and rigging and lifting that, they've seen this big crate. So some symbols that could be very helpful for some people. Let's see what all we can see is, I mean, this crate, if you're just looking at it from the outside, you got an umbrella, which kind of means, hey, try and keep it dry. Wine glass, which is saying it's more or less it's fragile, don't drop it. But what's that mean for lifting and rigging? Okay, well what we got is on each corner of the box there was this imprint of this chain right here. And that's kind of saying, it's like, well, if you can get that type of lift, that's where you should sling that's where your lift point should be, and things like that. Also, something else that's on this box is this bullseye target. That bullseye target is supposed to be a rough guess at where the center of gravity of the crate is. Because most people, I mean, I had no idea how this lathe was set in on the pallet and everything, so best guess to me, and it was exactly just that, a best guess. I tried lifting and I used the trial and error method, and I lifted a little bit, wasn't balanced, put it down, adjusted my chains, lifted a little bit more, and that's your trial and error. But using this center of gravity idea of where it's at, you can almost, that'll let you zero in a little bit as to what you're doing with your chains anyways, or your lifting slings, whether you need to be short on one end and long on the other because it's heavier on one side. So other than that, some of the slings, I mean, I ended up using these slings here just because they're 6.5 feet long, and they're not exactly, I don't think all it says is 1 ton webbing sling on it. I don't really think that you would be able to use this in, say, a certified shop because it doesn't have enough information to it. Whereas this one is a 10-foot sling that I picked up at Grizzly as well, and it's got all the nice information. It tells you what slings are supposed to have on them, and that's inspect your sling. It's 2-inch wide, 10 feet long, polyester, and then down here we've got your types of lifts that you can do with it and what it's rated for. So I mean, it's just a vertical lift is 6,000 pounds, and if you put it in the choker, it down rates to 4,800 pounds. I mean, and the choker being like this on your lift it's because you're putting a side load on it. Then we've got the basket lift. So basket lift is just, you've got the two out sideways, and so it's like that on your bottom. Well, there's other things to lifting, whether it's a sling, a wire rope, or a chain, other than just that. And something that I guess I was being a little cautious about when doing the lift with the lathe is that when you, say at the top of the box or top of the crate, I had a very severe angle going in like this. And that angle, the more severe your angle is, the more it takes away from your lifting capacity. Also, what else it does is it was really side loading on, and I'm going to say right now, this is not a lifting device. It gets used, but it's not. But what it's doing is it's side loading, and instead of like a downward pull, it's actually trying to pull apart. And so that's bad for your master links. This is not a master link. This is not an approved lifting device. So I'm going to say that again. But that's essentially what's going on, and it's a bad thing. So let's see, what else did I want to kind of, there's something else I was going with on this one. You can tell these are really well scripted. Yeah, there was something else I was going to go over. And it was, you saw when I lifted the crate, and it's a lot of the fact was the design of the crate and where the lift points were in the design of the crate, is that I used what's considered a 4-leg lift or a sling, and that's just as it says, it had 4 devices, 4 legs coming down. Now, if at all possible, you can balance your load and have the lifting capacity with 3 slings. That makes for a very much more stable lift. Why? Same theory as the bar stool or your chair or a tripod that's holding the camera up. With 4 legs, it's kind of a really touchy deal, is because if you calculate the weight of your load and on what you need to lift that load, and you say, okay, I'm doing it with 4 legs, well, that doesn't really work out. You should always calculate it with 3 legs, even if you're using 4 legs, because like that chair or bar stool, it's always going to rock a little bit. No matter what you do when you lift that load, all the weight is going to be on 3 points, like 3 points of contact. That 4th one, if it rocks, then it's on that one and it came off of the other one. So always you'd want to calculate your lift on 3 legs if you're doing a 4-leg lift. Be safe, and thank you for watching, I guess. I don't